Our story starts here, among the green hills of Val d'Orcia in the distant past. Along the watershed that divides it from Val di Chiana, we come upon the pagus of Corsinianus. And, my lord, we need your help to make it grow.
In this part of Tuscany, we can see different types of landscape. The south side of the Val d'Orcia is characterized by the mountainous cone of Mount Ambientato, and the north side is instead marked by the silhouette of the hilly ridges on which Corsinianus stands. The territory of the pagus of Corsinianus is geometrically set on a cardo-decumanic north-south east-west system, where the ridge acts as one of the ordination axes of the settlement. The type used is roughly square, 300 by 350 Roman feet, with two parallel streets serving a fabric of rural domus.
Welcome, my lord. Let me introduce myself. I'm Bernard, the foreman of the village, and I'm here to help you build your city. As you can see, there's much work to be done, but before making a start, I'd like you to listen to me. In the top part of the screen, you'll find the timeline. This bar marks the passing of the centuries. As you can see, it currently indicates the date 100 AD. Next to the timeline, you'll find the population indicator and the objectives for each level, which are essential to grow and develop our society. In the lower part of the screen, there is a map of your village, which will help you to move around within it and see the changes made during the various historical periods. In the center of the lower part, you'll also find the codec, a panel containing all the elements you'll need to build your settlement. To build a new house, select the domus icon. Excellent! In the codec, you'll find all the information on the new construction, such as the materials needed to build it, the construction techniques that will be used, and the skilled workers capable of carrying out the work. My lord, it's not a good idea to build in this position. It's far from the rest of the community and from the main road. I suggest you start building closer to the existing houses. Excellent! Now that you've built your first house, you'll see that your wood supplies have gone down. To produce more timber, you need to build a carpenter's workshop. Here are our houses. In the Etruscan era, wattle and daub structures were used, but now, in the Roman era, the walls are made of sun-dried clay bricks. See, my lord, in the courtyard in front of the house, whose main facade faces south so that it gets the best exposure to light and heat from the sun, a part of the harvest is produced and the animals are raised. Here, each family produces the food necessary to support itself. My lord, your city is expanding. The stone you've used to build the houses so far is no longer enough. I suggest you start extracting stone from the quarry close to the city.
The surface layers of the quarry contain a whitish limestone rock, which is very compact and is used to build walls that are more resistant and durable over time. The deepest layers of the quarry instead contain a yellowish-reddish-brown sandstone, which is highly resistant, making it possible to extract square blocks to be used for the parts of the wall placed under the most stress, such as the corners of the houses, jambs and lintels.
My lord, your city is expanding further. I suggest you start producing terracotta bricks by building a kiln. It would be better to build it outside of the city, close to a clay deposit and the wood, where we can get firewood to fuel the fire. In addition to bricks, which you can use to strengthen the walls of the houses you want to build, you can produce tiles for the roofs and slabs to create stronger and durable floors. My lord, your city has reached the maximum number of inhabitants. It's time to start a transformation. To do so, click on the Evolve button. and watch how the late Roman block changes into a medieval block. See, the courtyard is filled up with new stone and brick houses, which create a new urban fabric.
The fall of the Roman Empire, following the barbarian invasions, led to the further population of the area. The courtyards of the pagus, in order to accommodate new inhabitants, underwent a process known as insulizzazione. That is, they fill in or join up and become multifamiliar, taking on the characteristics of medieval alleys. Each house is made up of 1 or 2 units with sides measuring approximately 6 by 6 meters, placed one above the other or end to end. The space above is accessed by an external staircase, known as a profello. The ground floor is generally occupied by storage spaces or workshops, and the upper floor houses the family.
My lord, look at the timeline. We're in the year 1000, in the High Middle Ages. Your city has changed, and the population is ever larger. The inhabitants increase, and the production of food is no longer enough. Perhaps we should start to buy some of the food and conserve it in the granary to feed the population. It will also be necessary to strengthen the defences to avoid attacks from nearby towns. My lord, in this period the constructions are more complex and new skilled workers are needed to build the new houses. You've released the characters that will be essential to build the houses. The mason, who will help you to erect walls with stone and bricks. The carpenter, an expert at creating wooden floors. The labourer, who will help you with the most laborious tasks, such as transporting the construction materials and delivering them to the mason.
The fabric of the multifamiliar domus of the first Roman complex is joined on the west side, along the ridge, to a second urban fabric with a different orientation. In terms of size, it doubles the built area. The inversion axis, which simultaneously separates and joins these two areas, is the only path that cuts across the future Pienza. The new complex is now surrounded by a wooden palisade to defend the inhabitants.
To build a house, choose the materials you need, but be careful, not all the materials are fit for your purpose. Well done! You've chosen the materials necessary to start working with mixed masonry. This is the most widespread type of masonry in Corsinianus, and in fact it is made up of unsquared stone ashlars and bricks, arranged in repeating rows or more irregularly. On the ground floor, the wall thickness varies from 60 to 90 centimeters, gradually decreasing on the higher floors. Be careful though. In order to work with stones and bricks, you're going to need mortar. Well done! With 2 parts sand, 1 part lime and 1 part water, you can mix the mortar needed to work with the bricks and stone. In 1145, Corsinianus suffers a fierce attack and raid during fights between the inhabitants of Orvieto and Siena to gain supremacy in the area. My lord, your city is now a castrum and needs solid walls to defend itself. To construct the walls, go to the codex and choose the type of defensive structure. But always keep the quantity of stone in your storehouse under control.
The curtain wall has 2 main gates, the Murello gate to the west and the Ciglio gate to the east, connected by the Corso, small medieval street, which follows the ridge of the promontory. Besides this latter is the stronghold, a fortified structure able to accommodate the citizens in the event of a siege.
My lord, your thriving city has reached the maximum number of inhabitants. I suggest you start a new evolution. Check if you have the resources necessary and then watch how the city changes. the blocks are filled in and new buildings occupy the remaining free areas of the city. My lord, Pope Pius II is coming to our city. We must get ready.
The year is 1405, and Enea Silvio Piccolomini is born in Pienza. He is a compassionate man of great intellectual and political talent, and in 1458 he will become Pope Pius II. The following year, during a short stay in Corsinianus, in the company of Leon Battista Alberti, Pius II expresses his wish to transform his native village into the heart of the papal court.
What a great man this Pope is! He wants to make this city even more majestic by building a large church and monumental square. My lord, we can't leave this work to your skilled builders or masons alone. We need someone who understands geometry, mathematics, and the laws of perspective. We need an architect. It's time I introduced myself. I'm Bernardo di Matteo Gambarelli, called Rossellino, and I'm here to build Pienza, the city of the Pope.
Bernardo Gambarelli, 1409 to 1464, known as Rossellino, was acquainted with Leon Battista Alberti, for whom he probably supervised the construction of Palazzo Rucellai in Florence. On account of his fame, Pius II assigned him the task of designing the Church of the Assunta in Pienza, Palazzo Piccolomini, and the square in front.
My lord, your Pienza will be known not only for its cathedral, but also for grandiose palaces, which will be built by our stonemasons.
Palaces, due to their representative nature, are less common than houses in the urban fabric, tending as a rule to occupy particularly distinguished areas of the city, such as squares, clearings, and road junctions. To accommodate the families who lived in the houses demolished following the construction of the square, the 12 new houses were built, representing a rare case of planned historical building, documented with absolute certainty. They were in fact built in just 7 months, between May and November 1463, by the Sienese architect-builder Pietro Paolo of Porina.
Here's our city, my lord, at the height of its splendor. I, Bernardo Rossellino, am proud to have done a great service to the community by transforming the small hamlet into a city worthy of being remembered over the centuries. As Pope Pius II rightly said, "You did well, Bernardo, really well, to lie to us about the future cost of all the works. If you had told us the truth, you never would have persuaded us to pay out such a large sum. And this noble palace and the splendid cathedral among all those in Italy would not exist. Thanks to your deceit, these marvelous buildings were erected in a short time and are praised by everyone, except for a few who are consumed with envy and acrimony. So we thank you, and we deem you worthy of the highest honor among the architects now living."